is up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and in today's video, we're talking about how Aaron Hicks has become a real weapon for this Yankee team. He has been great for the Yankees as of late. He has had really strong numbers on the season, given that he got off to such a bad start in May. He's been really great lately. We'll talk about all those things. But before we get into that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have been great with support, and we want to hear your opinions. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know I'm an idiot. If you agree, let me know. I would love to hear what you guys have to think, and we really appreciate your input and, of course, your support. We love you guys dearly, and let's get into today's video. Starting off with Aaron Hicks' slash line, a 236 average, 361 on base, and 352 slugging percentage with a 713 OPS isn't extremely impressive on the surface until you look at a couple of key things. Number one, the 361 on base is one of the higher marks in baseball. He's getting on base at a really high clip, and that's valuable for a team that's got a lot of sluggers around him that can drive him in. Number two, let's look at weighted runs created plus. That's a stat that looks at offensive production. 100 is average, 90 is 10% below average, 110 would be 10% better than average, and Aaron Hicks has a 110 WRC plus. Now, for WRC plus, if you want to kind of scale what a 110 would be, a 110 would be an above average mark. It's a pretty solid mark. He's a pretty solid hitter this year. And it's only going up. It's trending in the right direction here. Lately, he has a 151 WRC plus. And when I say lately, that's since the month of June. He has 1.4 F4 on the season, which is the 12th highest amongst left fielders with at least 200 plate appearances. His 4 defensive runs saved are 10th amongst left fielders with at least 100 innings played, and his 2 outs above average are 4th amongst qualified left fielders. His 2 outs above average, again, I mentioned how it's 4th amongst left fielders, is a really impressive mark considering outs above average is very range-based, and his speed is supposedly declined since years past, but his range and his jumps have been a lot better in left field, so that's good to see. In center field, obviously not nearly as good as he is in left field, but to see him go from a full-time center fielder who couldn't play great defense to a full-time left fielder who does play great defense, this is really helping Hicks kind of optimize what he is, which is a pretty good left fielder. Let's look at the on-base skills. Again, I mentioned the 361 on base, and the reason for that is the really low chase rate, a 19.8% chase rate. That's the 20th lowest out of 249 hitters with at least 200 plate appearances, means he's not expanding the zone, and he's making himself a tough out for pitchers. And that's, again, important because seeing a lot of pitches when you have a lineup full of guys like the DJ LeMahieu's, the Statons of the world, the Judges of the world, the Gleyber's of the world, Matt Carpenter as of late for some reason. Right there's a lot of power in there. Anthony Rizzo, of course. There's a lot of guys in there that can hit some home runs or drive in runners, and they have high WRC plus totals. And Hicks makes himself a valuable weapon because he gets on base at such a high clip. One, for those guys, but two, by seeing a lot of pitches, he makes pitchers more exhausted, has them, in their 20th or 25th pitch in an inning kind of, really wearing down. David Cohn's talked about how pitchers who pitch deep into innings kind of feel their command go. That's the first thing that goes. The legs kind of get weak, and it's hard for them to continue to pitch. And getting their pitch count up is really important. But in an inning, you can get a guy like Judge facing a guy on 20, 25 pitches on fumes, trying to battle and claw their way through an inning and potentially letting them make a mistake and letting Aaron Judge break a game open. That's really valuable in an in-game, game-by-game situation, game-by-game basis. And Hicks' skills reflect in his production. Again, a 110 WRC plus, 10% better than average. The base running's been pretty good. He has 9 stolen bases on the year, a 1.2 BSR. BSR is base running value. That's on Fangraphs. A lot of the stats I mentioned can be found on Fangraphs. The stats that can be found on Savant or Baseball Savant is chase rate, or also known as out of zone swing percentage, specifically on that site. But chase rate and out of zone swing percentage are the same thing. And outs above average is also found on StatCast, whereas WRC plus, or weighted runs created plus, and BSR, base running value, are found on Fangraphs. F4 is another a stat I mentioned that's also found on Fangraphs. That's Fangraphs WAR, F-WAR, Fangraphs WAR. Get it? But overall, he's just having a very solid season. Is he a superstar player? Absolutely not. Are you going to use him to be the reason that you don't get a guy like Soto or Brian Reynolds or even maybe Ian Happ? No, not necessarily. But is he good enough that if you started him in left field and it was October and he's hitting 8th or 7th in your lineup, you feel pretty good? Absolutely. He's a switch hitter. He gets on base at a high clip. He's probably going to be one of those guys who gets better throughout the season. I mean, Steamer and Zips project him to get a little bit better offensively. If he finishes the year with a 110 to 115 WRC plus with that defense and, continues to steal bases at that clip, he's going to finish the year with a 3 or 3.5 F-WAR. And that's a pretty good mark for Aaron Hicks. That's a pretty good baseball player. I think a lot of people overlook and undervalue a good on-base percentage when a guy doesn't hit for a high average. When a guy doesn't hit for a high average, that doesn't mean they can't contribute. It doesn't mean they don't get on base. It doesn't mean they don't work the counts. It doesn't mean they're not being smart. It just means that they don't have a high average. They don't get a lot of hits. And hits are good, but hits aren't the only way to provide offensive value. Walks are really important. And if they weren't important, teams wouldn't value them. Teams wouldn't, sign players with high OBPs. They wouldn't sign players with high walk rates. They wouldn't DFA guys who hit 260, 270, 280 so frequently. If it was so important to hit for high average instead of getting on base. Your goal of an at-bat is to get on base. That's how you win an at-bat. And Aaron Hicks wins at-bats quite frequently, and so that's what makes him so valuable. The defense has been a lot better. The base running has been a lot better. The wins by replacement reflect all of that combination, and he kind of embodies the identity of the Yankees this year. Defense and speed to complement great power. And he has the defense, the speed, and I guess the on-base skills to complement the great power in this lineup. I know a lot of people point at IKF is a tough at-bat. IKF is a tough at-bat. IKF provides what the Yankees need. I would argue Aaron Hicks is more of that guy. Aaron Hicks provides what the Yankees need at the bottom of the lineup. And that is a guy who gets on base. That is a guy who plays good defense. That is a guy who has a good base running value. That is a guy who has a low chase rate. That is a guy who, as of late, has hit for a lot more power. A lot of his home runs and his extra base hits have come since the month of June. He's just a good hitter. He's a switch hitter. He provides a lot of value. Now, if the Yankees go out and get a star left fielder and he becomes your fourth outfielder, you're even better. So, again, I just want people to recognize that Aaron Hicks is becoming a weapon for this team. I want them to give him a little bit of more praise because I feel a lot of Yankee fans kind of lump him in with Gallo or lump him in with other players on the team who aren't playing as well or playing to expectations when Aaron Hicks has played to expectations and has been a pretty good player and has helped this team a lot. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Again, I would love to hear what you guys think. If you disagree, if you agree, let me know. I'm a pretty confident in this opinion of mine, but I would love to hear if anyone has their own thoughts on Aaron Hicks. Again, this is a player who just does his job, and players who do their job definitely have roles on the Yankees. And I'm going to be more than fair with Aaron Hicks and any player on this team. And I'm going to sit here and tell you that the way that I analyze baseball, the way that I view baseball in that, very sabermetric lens, he has provided value to this team this year. And I'm not going to pretend that he hasn't. So again, let me know what you guys think. And I'd love to see what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching through the completion of this video. This is the end of the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Ryan out.